Hey everyone, my name's Rachel and today we are going to be talking about some cute little animals again, and one in particular which is one of my favourite animals of all time because I think they're really cute. So everyone knows what a misnomer is, right? It's basically a word or a name that suggests a characteristic which is known to be wrong. So jellyfish aren't actually fish, or koala bears aren't actually bears, horned toads aren't toads at all but lizards, and similarly one of my favourite animals, the mountain chicken, is actually a frog. They're all misnomers, and there are a lot of these in nature in particular, but I mean you see them in other places as well. But today the animal we're going to be looking at, it has a really strange name, but it is by no means a misnomer, at least I don't think so. Because while frogmouths don't really have frogs for mouths, the resemblance between their beaks and the mouth of a frog is uncanny. You can't tell me that these little guys don't look like they have frog mouths. Come on! If you ask me, frogmouth is the perfect name for them, like it could not be better. Frogmouths are a group of nocturnal birds with these flat, wide beaks, who I can totally relate to in many ways because they spend most of their days sleeping. They aren't very good at doing a lot of typical bird things like flying, and they often confuse people who can't tell if they are insanely adorably cute or just kind of a little bit weird. See, just like me. So they mostly live around Southeast Asia and Australia, with one of my favourite species being the Sri Lankan frogmouth, which, not surprisingly, is found in Sri Lanka. And also some of South India, so you know, throw in that curveball in there. Unlike a lot of birds, frogmouths have a head as wide as their body, which is kind of why they look like strange little lumps sometimes. However, they can stretch their head and necks upwards to make themselves look like a little tree branch. Basically, it does make them look thinner, so they're trying to kind of like stay out of the way, because they're very good at camouflage. They like camouflage. It's because of their shape and also the pattern of their feathers, which make them really great at hiding in trees. They seriously, like, they blend into the bark and the leaves so well. I remember one time my friend Chris took me to a zoo and he was like, are there even any birds in this enclosure? And we spent a good sort of like 5 or 10 minutes looking around, and it turned out that there were 2 frogmouths literally on a branch right in front of us that we didn't see for far too long. And it's actually pretty impressive that they were so well hidden like that, but they were so cute. And it was like once we saw them we were like, how did we not see them? But at the time they were so well hidden. It's kind of cool. Anyway, thing is, they have great camouflage because they kind of hate conflict. They're not very good at fighting, and they don't really want to be in any kind of confrontation with anyone. And also, they spend most of their day sleeping, so they want to be safe in the knowledge that they can cuddle up on their little branch, have a little snooze, and they're not going to be disturbed by anyone, especially not anyone who wants to eat them. And it's not even the adults who are great at camouflage, the babies are too. Take tawny frogmouths, for example. Their babies are born bright white. They have these bright white feathers that kind of like stick up a little bit as well sometimes. And it actually means that they are almost identical looking to eucalyptus flowers. So whether they're grown-ups or babies, they kind of just blend into trees really well, and they're really hard to see, which I think is kind of really cool and impressive. Speaking of tawny frogmouths, they are the kind that I have seen close up before, but sadly not in the wild, as they tend to live mostly in Australia, and I've never been there, which is sad. The really interesting thing about tawny frogmouths is that they have a really interesting ability, probably because they live in Australia where the climate is so warm and they live in kind of like lots of different environments and they have to be well adapted to that. And so because of this, one of the really cool things they can do is regulate their own body temperature kind of on demand. Not like in humans where it's completely involuntary and we can kind of regulate our temperature a little bit. Tawny frogmouths can literally decide to lower their body temperature if they need to, which I think is kind of amazing and impressive. It means if they ever need to save energy or cool down a bit, they can do that. Tawny frogmouths in particular as well, I think can teach us something a little bit about life. they tend to mate for life, so they choose a partner, they stick with them, and when it comes to raising the kids, they co-parent so equally. Like seriously, generally, males watch over the kid during the daytime, females watch over the kid during the night. Both of them take responsibility to hunt and feed for the kids. Both of them share responsibility to protect the kids, and they do everything equally. So it kind of, you know, squashes that old myth of like, oh, well, women are supposed to be the ones to look after the kids because that's how it happens in nature always. Like, no, these guys, they know how to co-parent equally. They do everything for the kids equally. There's no mother does this while the dad just hunts. You know, it's like we're gonna do things the same. And I think that's really, really cool. Speaking of hunting and feeding, frogmouths are pretty sneaky little guys. They tend to hunt insects and sometimes small reptiles like tiny frogs and things like that. And they tend to hunt at night by sitting completely still and silently on a branch, watching and waiting for some prey. When they see something that they think they fancy, they're like, that looks like a tasty little dish. They watch and they wait, and then they swoop down and grab it, and they kind of catch it by surprise from above, and I think it's really, really cool. They do have to be pretty careful while they're down at ground level though, because they do have some predators, including carpet pythons and foxes and feral dogs and cats. They can attack them and eat them, which isn't good. And also, because frogmouths are stubborn little monkeys who, not literally monkeys, but they're stubborn little monkeys who don't like to move at all. They're like, they get settled in their place and they're like, I like it here, I don't want to move from here. Again, kind of like me. It does mean that sometimes they are really, really at risk during forest fires, which is really sad. Not only do forest fires damage their home and the place where they live, but sometimes frogmouths are like, just a bit of fire. I don't know if I want to move. Which means that they are really, really in danger, which is really bad. That said, on the kind of whole conservation status, they aren't really at risk, which is really, really good and really, you know, something to be grateful for, you know, because they're not hunted or anything by people, which is great. But still, when it comes to like forest fires and protecting their environments, there are things that we need to be aware of and look after. So yeah, overall, I just think frogmouths are pretty awesome. They are one of my favourite birds, one of my favourite animals, and just something that I wanted to kind of share with you today and talk about as a little bit of a fun, light video. They're kind of weird, but also adorable. They're smart, but they're stubborn, and I just really like them and kind of wanted to share them with you. So let me know your thoughts on frogmouths. If you know any other cool, interesting little facts about them. If not, tell me what your favourite bird is, or any other animals you'd like me to talk about in the future for these fun, silly, little random videos that I'm really enjoying making, actually. And for now, thank you so much for watching today. I really, really do appreciate you, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you so much to everyone supporting me on Patreon this month. I really hope you know how completely grateful I am. A special thank you goes to Gambit and a Chauffeur, Mark Dauner, Christian Berg, Religion is BS, Matthew Meinema, Jaylee Moore, Sir Michael Moore, Lachie Scott and Jadeon Sheppard. And to everyone else mentioned here on the end screen and down in the description, thank you so much.